I thought I'd come on live just to prepare my lesson at 11:30 till 12:30. Now today we're going to do quite a number of things, and I just wanted to say before we start that this lesson's here free of charge, and they they're not repeated in the sense that whatever I do now, you can access on TomPadulaTV, TomPadula on Facebook, on my page. So, and eventually these lessons will go to Insegna.com website, so you'll be able to access it. But we're going to do this slowly, and since Insegna also has Insegna Booksellers also has books in 20 other languages. But the main one is really, we are very well resourced for Italian, but the other languages are for the learning of the languages and for teaching. The best way to really handle what I'm saying is just to go and have a look at insegna.com and familiarise yourself with the website and use it as a resource for your teaching or for your learning of Italian or other languages. I only have online one book because there's such a great variety, and that one book I can guarantee, but all the others, if there are more than one, there's more than one copy needed, then you'd have to contact me, and I'll give you all my details, my details as we go along. So here we go. Let's see if this works. Now this one here, okay. Free online lessons every Tuesday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And I normally start my, my work about 5 minutes before, just for an introduction, basically, and to do the administration of things. Now, the other thing too, this is what I have here. TomPadula Live on Facebook, online languages class, Italian and Lot, from Insegna Booksellers, Insegna Big Pond, there you are. I also have TomPadulaTV on YouTube and other blogs. And that's basically it, really, in terms of administration. And I have to sort of go from, I'll get better and better as I go along. That's the way I normally work. You know how it is. It's incredible. But, yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. And we'll start the class exactly at 11:30. But I thought I'd come on a little bit earlier and, get you going as well as we go along, okay? I just want to remind you as well, I've got another minute, that on Sundays I do 1 hour on Dante Alighieri, and Dante Alighieri, my poetry and the singing, music, and then on Thursday night I do world history for another hour again, and both of those nights start at 7:25, 5 minutes like now, and then I finish at 8:30. So I keep them for an hour. Okay, so, and I'm pretty, I try to do things precisely as if we were in a school. That's what our government does with us. They want us to do exactly what they say. Everyone wants us to follow. If you lead, you want other people to follow what you say. Okay, it's 11:30. Let's start. This is the second Italian class, and today is the 26th of October 2021. Now, last week I started with a saying, and here we are. La pratica batte la grammatica, ma senza la grammatica non puoi migliorare o perfezionare la lingua che vuoi imparare. Basically, I didn't translate it in English, but it's practice beats grammar. But without the grammar, you cannot better or perfect the language that you want to learn. So basically, I'm going to go through the grammar for Italian, and then I'll make references to this. This is a slow process. Any textbook is fine, whether it's a grammar, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The most important ingredient in all this is that you want to learn, and that you want to learn the language. I've taught in schools, and I know what it means that when a student is not interested, doesn't matter what you do, they won't commit. You've got to commit to a language, otherwise you can't learn it. And then you have to practice it. And I always say, I do this, I'll show you what I do. Here, I put my hand here, and I go, da questa parte parlo l'italiano perfettamente bene, and then I go to English on this other side. So therefore, if you really want to learn another language, devi per forza praticare la lingua. Per arrivare lì and to get there, you have to study. So that's how it is. So if you want to learn and you want to stay with me, I promise you'll have a lot of fun. Because I don't have to control you. It's not like in a classroom. And I actually have a poem which I wrote about 30 years ago, about, the wish to be teaching online, because then you don't have to handle the discipline part. And that's with this pandemic, that's what happens in schools. However, then you've got a problem that people are not interested, they're not controlled, parents aren't there with them, they miss out. So education is very important. Okay, let's go to Italian. Okay, last week I began with saying the following things. Wait on, let me see. I went last week, I said to you that there are 9 parts of speech. And the variable parts are noun, article, adjective, pronoun, and verb. The invariable parts are adverb, prepositions, conjunction, and exclamation or interjections. Now, I'm going to concentrate on the noun because you have to start somewhere, and I'll put these 9 parts of speech every time because I want everyone to know that in all languages, mostly in all languages, these are the 9 parts that you need to study. Some of them don't have, for example, preposition. Latin doesn't have it, and German doesn't have it. But they have, they got declensions, what they call declensions. But we're not doing that. We're doing the noun, and we're doing the noun in a regular form. Language is not a precise science. It's an imprecise science because there are exceptions to the rule, and so. But you've got to start somewhere. We might as well start from the beginning. So we want to do the noun. So let's have a look. The noun starts with what? With an O. See, the noun, for example, gatto. See that? Bambino, fratello, marito. There are 4 examples here. 4 examples, and then the other one is sorella, donna, penna, lavagna. So they are all end in I. There are only 4 examples, but these examples here mirror what you find in all dictionaries. So these 2. And finally, there's another one, madre, padre, studente, professore. Now, there are some words in Italian that end in A, and I've chosen the easy ones. I haven't chosen the difficult ones, the ones that need special attention. So what happens here is that if you want, all these Italian words that are regular, the regular words in Italian are the following. Let me have a look. Yeah, okay. Between you and me. See, I need to come on, otherwise you lose me on this whiteboard. So when you say gatto, bambino, fratello, marito, and you want to say the plural, this is what happens. The O becomes I. So you say gatti, like cat, cats, with an S in English. Bambini, fratelli, mariti. Okay? I didn't put a dot on the bambini. So I can be criticized for that. Why not? You can. Go ahead. Now, the next one is sorella, donna, penna, lavagna. These are the feminine words. So if you want to make a plural of those, easy. You just make them into the plural. Sorelle, donne, penne, lavagna. And this happens with all the regular words ending in O or A. Okay? And then finally, madre, padre, studente, madri, padri, studenti, professori. So what do you notice? That madre, padre, can be confused with you can confuse, see this? See my finger, beautiful. You can confuse the madre, padre with the plural of sorella, sorelle. That can be confusing. So you learn that by, practice. So you know that these are the words that end in the plural will be like this. But these ones here, madre, padre, studente, then in the plural, what happens there is that madre, padre, which you can confuse, well, not confuse, it's like gatto, bambino, gatti, bambini. So this is the study, this is the grammar part. Now once you learn the grammar part, you don't have to relearn it again. Once you know how to break an egg, you don't have to, you can splutter an egg, you can do anything with it. But really, the main thing is that if you want to be precise with your particular activity, you have to know these things here. And in maths, you have to know, you have to be able to know your, the multiplications, etc. These things is the grammar part of all subjects. In music is the same. So there we are. So this is it. Now that covers the noun. Now I haven't covered all the noun because what I'm interested in is teaching you in this particular class just the simple main way of understanding how you handle words. Now, noun, what is a noun? A noun is a word. So all of these are words. Cat, child, brother, husband, sister, woman, pen, blackboard, mother, father, student, and teacher. So there you are. In English, what do we do in English? Gatto, gatti, cat, cats, child, children, brother, brothers, husband, husbands. So even in English, we've got the differences. Some, for example, child, bambino, child. You don't say childs, you say children. So that's a different one. So because you've used English all the time, you do it automatically. Now, the other thing that we go to, and they come together, are the articles. Now, the articles are there are two types of articles, and the articles are here. Again, il and la, and then there's lo. Now, this is a special one, requires another lesson by itself, lo and li. And these are called the definite articles, so you've got to give them names. So the names for the next lot is indefinite article, un, una, and uno. So here we go again. In il, the article il changes to the plural to I. La changes to le. Now, lo, I haven't given any examples here because you need a special explanation for that. So we're just going to do this too today with the words that I put on the board. And then the next one is uno, una. Again, and uno is like lo, uno. You can see that these ones here look after particular words. So here we go. For example, now we go. Gatto, you want to put the article in front. Okay, let me see if I can manage. Yeah, I might be able to manage. Oop, just dropped something, sorry. Just 1 second. Here we go. Okay, let's say gatto. You want the cat. You just put il gatto. Il bambino. Il fratello. Il marito. Okay, so there you are. Il gatto, the cat, the child, and fratello, etc. Okay, so that's one. This next one is la sorella, la donna. la penna, la lavagna. So this is the boring part of the language, the grammar. And this is what it's taught. Once upon a time, they used to put a lot of emphasis on these things here. Now, you still need to learn it. Regardless of what method you use in the teaching of language, you still need to come to grips with this. Because without this, your understanding of the word and your progress in the language depends very much just on the practice. This is cutting corners. Grammar makes you cut corners in your understanding of the language, not your practice. That's the difference. Now, madre is feminine. See that? That's padre is masculine. Studente is masculine. Professore is masculine. Okay. Now, that needs a bit of an explanation too. Why is mother is feminine? So you have to put la in front. Padre is masculine, so you put il in front. Studente, il. This is the one. See? ST, that's the one. I put it by mistake. I didn't think when I was putting it on. It goes to lo. See that? Because it's a word that starts with a consonant and follows with another consonant. But the consonant has to be S. So, lo studente. Okay? We will leave that one out. But il professore. Now, you're going to explain this to somebody. So this is the one, that's where it can get confusing. But it doesn't have to be confusing because once you do it a few times, then there's no problem at all. So if you want, for example, now we'll go to the next bit, il gatto, you want the plural of il gatto, you get I gatti, see that? I bambini, I fratelli, I mariti. There we are, easy. That's the plural, the cats, the children, the brothers and the husbands. Le sorelle, le donne, le penne, le lavagne. See that? That's another one too. But here, before I go on, I'll come back to this. Now, you've noticed that the O changes to I. And il becomes I as well. So il gatto, I gatti, il bambino, i bambini, il fratello, i fratelli, il marito, i mariti, la sorella, le sorelle, la donna, le donne, la penna, le penne, la lavagna, le lavagne. Now we got to the next one, okay? Here we go. La madre, because it's feminine, it has to be le madri. But il padre is masculine, therefore it has to be I padri. Now, lo studente, see that, studenti, it's actually gli, this one here, which I haven't, I'll come back to this for more examples. Lo studente, gli studenti, okay? So, but I'm not going to put that today. Il professore, I professori. Now, I think with this lesson here, I've given you the basis of the nouns and the articles. Now, there's another article, like in English, we have the cat. But you can also have instead of the cat, you can have a cat. So that's the indefinite article. Un, uno. See that? Again, un, una. Un is for the masculine, una is for the feminine. So instead of saying the cat, you want to say a cat. There's a big difference between the cat and a cat, because the cat is very specific. Whereas un gatto can be anywhere, So that's un, see that? And so you do the same thing here. Un. See that? And that takes care of the cat, il gatto, a cat, un gatto. The child, il bambino, a child, un bambino, etc., etc. You get the gist. I mean, these are the examples, okay? And this is the grammar part. So that's the grammar part. Now, you can see that each one of these is a cohort of learning. You cannot learn a language properly without the grammar. But the grammar doesn't have to be just it, because now I'm going to change. I've noticed that a few people, Stephen is online, and I'm going to use Stephen Ross Ferraro. Is a good mate, and he does online with music. And I promised him that I would do a couple of songs today, and I will use these particular parts of speech when I do the songs. And it's 11:46, so we're doing okay with time. And we'll go now. I will leave this, and I'll go to the next lot of things that I do, which is okay. So here we go. There you are. This is what I said. That's TomPadulaTV at gmail.com. If you want to write me, le mie attività, martedì, nouns, masculine, masculine or feminine. So this, I had put this on this side of the board, on the other side. Okay, so that's it. Excuse me 1 second. I need a drink. I need a drink. So what do I do here? I'll just put it. I'll put this down. 1 second. Okay, let's go back. All right, so we've got here, we've covered the singular and the plural of the definite, of the ending of words. Now, there are also other things. That's the grammar part there. Then there's the practice part. Now, the practice can be anything. And it doesn't matter which textbook you use, exercises with words, nouns, textbooks, workbooks, and from all books or another, songs, una spina, una rosa, and Carissimo Pinocchio, I'm going to do, sketches from Commedia per Principianti, which I've been doing on the Sunday program as well, and practice singing and acting and other things. So here we go. We're going to go to una spina e una rosa. Let's have a look. Hoopla. That's right. I'm going to sit down, maybe. Depends on how it goes. There you are. Can you see it? You can see it, can't you? Una spina e una rosa. Have a look at this. Domani è festa, questa notte si va a letto tardi, resta con me, a quest'ora è un peccato lasciarci, balliamo ancora come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire non può morire stanotte così. Ai, ai, ai. Now notice in that part there's not even one word that, apart from letto, but a letto, it's un letto or il letto, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to look. Una gioia, see? Una gioia in definite article. La gioia è un dolore, and dolore ends in e. So un dolore. So, a joy and a pain. Mi dai una spina is feminine, e una rosa is feminine. Una gioia is feminine, but un dolore is masculine. Ai, 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 a ballare di notte con te, quanto è pericoloso. Ma una notte, notice that, una notte, così, vale più della vita di un re. Re ends in e. So, un indefinite article, a king. It's not the king, it's a king. So una notte is a night, a king. Del domani non mi importa niente, voglio morire stanotte con te. Questa canzone is also a word, la storia, notice that, la storia, the history. But because there is RIA, that requires a special explanation, because when you make it plural, le storie, you can, but that sort of words there that have a diphthong in the end, have got two words, two vowels. They need special, special explanations. Di due innamorati che come noi se si lasciano sono perduti. Balliamo ancora come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire non può morire stanotte così. So you've done una spina e una rosa. You can explain this part here, all this. There's a lot of grammar in all this song. But really, when you're singing it, and I'm going to sing it now, okay? And Stephen's going to sing it along with me probably. Okay, let's go. You can do it the same if you can see it. Domani è festa, questa notte si va a letto tardi. Resta con me, a quest'ora è un peccato lasciarci. Balliamo ancora, come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire, non può morire stanotte così. Ai, 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 una gioia e un dolore mi dai, una spina e una rosa. Ai, 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 a ballare di notte con te, quanto è pericoloso. Ma una notte così vale più della vita di un re. Del domani non mi importa niente, voglio morire stanotte con te. Questa canzone è la storia di due innamorati che come noi se si lasciano sono perduti. Balliamo ancora come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire non può morire stanotte così. Then you can give music, you can repeat it, you can do all sorts of things. So if somebody doesn't speak Italian and doesn't have the pronunciation, and may I say about one of the beautiful things about Stephen is that he sounds like Connie Francis because she had that American accent because he was born here and of course hasn't lived in Italy. So the language for a lot of people is a second language. It's not a first language. And in my case, I came to Australia at the age of 15. So what happens here? So what happens here is very simple, is that you are born with a language, in the country where you are. So therefore, the most important thing for you is to learn the local language. It's important. And, they say dialects in Italy, the dialect, the Italian. Well, Italian is a constructed language because Italian comes from Latin. Latin was the language of the Romans, and because they had such an empire, they had a big influence in the languages of Europe. So the languages of Europe, for example, deriving from Latin, are as follows. The Latin, see that? Derived languages: Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. Okay, so these are the 5 languages. I am also, I'm a qualified French teacher, but I don't use French. Spanish I want to learn, but I will make those 2 languages, I'll make some references to them because I've promised people who come to my lessons here on a Tuesday that I will cover other load. So in other words, what I'm saying with Italian in terms of the noun and the article, it applies also to French, etc., etc. So that's the important part, is that you at home can use whatever you want. We did a song there, okay? Now, really, I should do. Let's look at something else. Let's look at something else here. For example, see that? This is in French, l'école, le professeur, la table, la chaise, le tableau. Same as in Italian. La craie, le morceau de craie, la classe, la salle de classe, la leçon. And you've got this sort of examples. For example, let's say you want to do Spanish, let's say, okay? So it's the same thing. It's the same thing because with Spanish, I'm trying to look at something else, some of the words here. Okay, here we are, but I don't know how to pronounce these things. No hay, no pisar por la hierba, no tocar, ocupado, particular, peatones. So in other words, what can happen here, this is a I have to organise myself so that you can appreciate the differences in languages, but they're not great differences because the most important thing is to actually read in that language, regardless of what it is that you have, and that's the important part. What did I have? I had una spinarosa. Now, I think before I go on with anything else, I would like to introduce a bit of Italian culture, and what better to do that than to go to our friend Pinocchio, because Pinocchio is an important Italian cultural icon. So, and I wanted to do Pinocchio because I wanted you to have a look at the same, we don't forget the grammar. We got the grammar, the noun. So have a look in this particular song, what happens exactly in the song. So there's many things in a song. There are hidden grammatical lessons here. So here we go. Lettera a Pinocchio. See that? Lettera a Pinocchio. Ho tanto desiderio questa sera di scrivere una lettera, sì? Una lettera a qualcuno. If you had a pen, a pencil or a highlighter, and you had the words to lettera a Pinocchio, don't forget all these words here are available to you thanks to Dr. Google, Professor Google. And because Google can give you anything, or Safari or Chrome, whatever. These words here come up. You can, if you've got a printer, you can actually, have them in front of you. But that's for learning the song, so that when Stephen plays it, you can sing along as well. When you go to an Italian club in Melbourne, you can sing along. So that's my work as a cultural person, is that, as a teacher, is that I want, and why I haven't done this before, I don't know. It takes a pandemic to move some people. Okay. Well, let's go on. Ho tanto desiderio questa sera di scrivere una lettera a qualcuno e fra gli amici della primavera al mio più caro amico scriverò. So the only word there was una lettera, if you notice. Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, di tutti i miei segreti che confidavo a te. Nothing there. Carissimo Pinocchio, ricordi quando ero bambino? Nel bianco mio lettino ti sfogliai, ti parlai, ti sognai. These are verbs, by the way, and, that's what I said. Those are the 9 parts of speech. Now, you don't learn them overnight. It takes years, a couple of years, well, a year at least, to really get your head around it. Dove sei ti vorrei veder, del tuo mondo vorrei saper, forse Babbo Geppetto è con te. Dov'è il gatto? Here we go. Il gatto che ti ingannò, il buon grillo. Ah, that's the adjective, buon. We haven't done the adjective, I'll come up, but it's il grillo. See that? Il grillo. And notice the adjective comes just before the word. But this is not for this lesson. La fata turchina. La fata turchina. I'm not sure that's a name there, but it's probably her name is Turchina. Dove, carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, con tutti i miei segreti, resta ancora nel mio cuore come allora. So in other words, there are only a couple of examples here of the grammar that we did today. And that's why some people say, well, what do you waste your time with grammar for? Well, because slowly you will understand that o is a verb, tanto, questa are adjectives, scrivere is a verb, etc., etc. So un po' alla volta, and you can't do it all in one go. You have to be patient, and then you also have to do your exercises. You have to remain committed. You need your enthusiasm. You can't go into... A lot of kids too, you can't learn the language straight away, but when they want something, voglio l'acqua. Here, I want water, okay? So let's have an example. Voglio acqua. I'm going to straight away. Do I need to explain that water there's a chemical, it comes from here or there, or that's how you do it in chemistry. You don't. You just want water. Voglio l'acqua. Straight away. Voglio mangiare. Boom. So in other words, a lot of the things we need straight away. Now, this is not a straight away thing. It's something that you need to appreciate, especially in Melbourne, because a lot of people have, did not go to school in Italy. For them, Italian is not important. There are 7,000 languages in the world. So, in other words, but look what they've done, the big business has done. They've got Google Translator. My poems get translated into 53 languages automatically. But it's not the same. They're doing it, not me. And they make some mistakes, but the matrix in the Google Translator is so good from English into Italian and vice versa. It's incredible. But if you try to do, let's say, Italian to Somali or to another language, the matrix in there is not as advanced. So therefore, there are more mistakes. Okay, on that note there, I want to, it's the culture. And I need something now. Too much grammar for me. I just want to sing Lettera a Pinocchio, ok? Ho tanto desiderio questa sera di scrivere una lettera a qualcuno e fra gli amici della primavera al mio più caro amico scriverò. Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, di tutti i miei segreti che confidavo a te. Carissimo Pinocchio, ricordi quand'ero bambino, nel bianco mio lettino ti sfogliai, ti parlai, ti sognai. Dove sei? Ti vorrei veder, del tuo mondo vorrei saper, forse babbo Geppetto è con te. Dove il gatto che ti ingannò, il buon grillo che ti parlò, e la fata turchina dov'è? Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, con tutti i miei segreti resti ancor nel mio cuor come allor. Well, there you are, Lettera a Pinocchio. Now, of course, with the music, it would be a totally different situation altogether. But today we've done Una spina e una rosa, Lettera a Pinocchio, and of course I do this as well with Dora and Rino, and before with Angelo Marchese for many years, because I never thought I could sing. And then I realized that, in fact, I didn't know music. See? Music is a language. You have to learn the notes. I was never introduced to the notes, but I loved to sing even when I was a child. But then, because you don't sing, you think that you don't have a voice. But if you speak, why not? In the shower, whenever you want, you can, you keep yourself company by doing this sort of a cultural activity. But of course, when you're working hard, you've got a young family, you have to worry about those other things. These are secondary. There are some primary things that we need to do in life, and these are primary too, but they're not regarded as such. They're regarded as secondary. So, even when you organise a cultural, I used to do cultural afternoons, but if I didn't have food there, there weren't many people. It's only when there's food as well, but then it gets, the activity gets mixed up. It's not as perfect as when you go online and you concentrate on it, because no one disturbs you. But they can just switch you off. Have you done that so far? No, you haven't. Now, I would like to do more practice because I said to you that I would also do the practice. I got to find the book. I'll do this one. This is a new one. It's called Speak, Parla, Speak, and it's got I saluti. So we go through I saluti together, and I'll just show you. I've got this book. They've got plenty of copies. Again, don't forget, all this is, I do this with all my heart, but at the end of the day, everyone wants, there's the practical side of it as well. But honestly, I've always done a lot of things for my pleasure, and then there's the obligation of, working for yourself, for your family. You've got to meet the basic needs of your situation. Otherwise, you can't go ahead. You won't be happy. So, and as I said, the study of Dante Alighieri is really an eye-opener because I did it at university, and when I was there, I didn't really understand it all that much. But as the years have gone by, and I've sort of almost feel obliged to read this classic, I realised that, when we are young, you make mistakes. In middle age, you've got to work things out. You've made some mistakes when you're young, and you've got to keep going. You've got, you're very heavily burdened by your strength, your personal strength, both physical, mental, etc. You work hard. You've got 2 or 3 jobs. You've got all those things there, and then you get to the third age, and in the third age, we sort of, no longer young, no longer, under obligation to do much. You've done it, and if you feel comfortable, you don't need much. You're not going to take anything with you. So here we go. We're going to do this one here. There, speak, parla, speak. Okay. I saluti. Okay, you can say after me. Buongiorno bambini ragazzi, buonasera a tutti, buon pomeriggio, ciao, fate i bravi, arrivederci, a domani, a lunedì, a tra poco. And then the greetings are, see, good morning children, so you can go from one to the other. Put a piece of paper in front like this, okay, like that, and you can do it the other way too. So you can learn from this book here, certain basic ones. Come stai, come state, bene grazie, tu, lei, come ti senti, vi sentite, non c'è male, grazie, abbastanza bene, così, non tanto bene. So, how are you? Well, thank you. And you? How do you feel? Not too bad, thanks, fairly well, so and so, not too well. Okay. The next lot. Come va? Benissimo. Come sta la mamma? Sta bene, grazie. Sta meglio oggi? Non sta bene. Come stanno I genitori? Stanno bene, grazie. How are things? Very well. How is your mum? She's well, thank you. She's better today. So in other words, what happens here? What happens here? That this is la pratica. Now you're not going to remember this, are you? Because really, if you really know it well, when I say non sei contento, you should know that it's aren't you happy today? Non sei contento oggi? See that? No, non c'è niente. No, it's nothing. Cosa c'è? Huh? What's the matter? So, what are these? These are little phrases, and if you learn, I'm going to go back to me. If you learn the phrases and you repeat them, then they become part of your what you know of the language. Now, you're not going to remember it all. So therefore, what you remember, it becomes yours. What you don't remember, you learn from. It's, for example, when you make mistakes, it's an opportunity. It's not a mistake, because when you don't know something, then you want to learn. And that's what's happened to me in the last few years, is that I didn't know how to, Nella was doing it. Yesterday was, 5 years she'd been away now. I'm sure she's working in books upstairs, but what I'm saying is that you have to learn what the other person does. And then you realize that what the other person was doing was so important, and you didn't see it. You took it for granted. So you can't take each other for granted, because then when you do that, it's a big mistake. But anyway, the reality is that if you want your grandchildren to learn Italian, you can't say, I'll get a book. You have to spend time with them. You need some resources. Come and see me. And of course I will, I'll give you some for free too. But what I'm saying is that, culture needs support. And that's why in Melbourne, we've been very lucky that the Italian clubs have done so well in terms of entertaining the families, etc. in the past. Now, they're all complaining when I started going there a couple of years ago. For the first time in ever, I never attended Italian clubs. Now, I went in there and I thought, they're all called Muso Giù, sort of, this club's going to die, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, they're not. There's spring every year. What are you doing? It's just got to do something. But we want the young ones aren't coming. Why should they come? You're there. If they come, you've got to go away. They'll only come when you go away. So you can't come into Insegna and throw me out. This is for me now. I've always treated Insegna as my playground, whereas Nella used to come to work here. Now, I still work, but, I do whatever I want now, especially if people don't give me orders. They free me. So sometimes when you're not all that successful, it's good. It's an opportunity. It's to enjoy your life, to develop your good relationships with people, to do whatever you want. And learning Italian is one of those things. But voglio dire, quante persone qui a Melbourne non parlano più italiano? Non si può parlare l'italiano se non lo pratichi tutti i giorni. Io parlo sempre in inglese, è poco le volte che parlo in italiano, perché con gli altri è più facile. Tutto quello che noi abbiamo in giro, a noi, è in inglese. Quindi è molto più facile parlare in inglese. Una delle critiche agli insegnanti di italiano, non parlano l'italiano in classe. Ma se tu parli solo italiano in classe, i tuoi studenti non ti capiranno. You need to come back to the language. You need to show that you can do both well. But the thing is, when you are teaching, you're isolated with your learners. There are no people there who know as much as you. E come dico sempre io, even if you're not very good at Italian, in terra di ciechi, chi ha un occhio è Signore. So, in the land of the blind, he who has one eye is Lord. Same as with singers. A Pavarotti, the great Italian singers, well, when they sing, Gianni Morandi says it often, because when he first started to go on Facebook, I wrote to him and he said, he was singing his songs with his guitar. Honestly, he wasn't that good. But then one day he explained it, said, look, I start like this for me. And then if I really like this, I call the writer and I call the musician and I call the person who writes music, and then I go into the shows. And then, in other words, it's a commitment. You don't become a singer if you don't sing in public and you don't entertain people. Tom Padula sings for himself. So you can do it too, but don't think that you're a singer. Don't think that you're a professor just because you know a few things. Because it depends on, if I was teaching in a university, it would be different from now that I've been, I've left teaching almost 20 years ago now, after 30 years, so a long time. But I've kept it up. I kept up my interest in Italian culture, in the language, because of the shop too. We've supplied books, schools, libraries, etc. It's been a big job. The big job, and thank you to Nella too. She was absolutely committed to it. And she arrived in Australia at the age of 5. She learned Italian. I tell you, by the end of it, she was writing to Italy and Perfect Italian. Perfect. She preferred reading books in Italian. Can you believe that? She preferred to read, her English was impeccable, but she preferred to read books in Italian. I have a lot of both English novels and Italian novels. Some of them are translated too. But again, you can't just go online, have a look. Have a look. So enough of this. Now, where have I put my other one? Now, I've got another book here. Doesn't matter. I've got another book called L'Italiano with Patience here. There, L'Italiano with Patience. This was I did this many years ago for health practitioners. This is what I wrote this, 1999. I'm going to read it to you. L'Italiano with Patience. This course book is designed to give healthcare workers who are not familiar with the Italian language an introduction to a basic vocabulary, phrase and sentence structures that will assist them in communicating with their patients when necessary. Often for the carers, helping people who are sick or in need of compassionate attitude through a difficult life situation, a knowledge of some language is better than none at all. In the case of Italian-speaking first-generation Italo-Australians of the third age, the need to have people around who speak some Italian is an essential part of palliative care. Those involved in medical, social and spiritual help are encouraged to read through this book and consider learning a little Italian each day for personal growth and practical utility within their working environment. The initial chapter will help with the learning of pronunciation and reading skills. So pronunciation becomes a very important part of another language. You've got to learn how to read, and there are some pronunciation is a science in itself as well. Whether it's Italian, French or Spanish or any other language, you need the pronunciation. Chinese, they got the 4 tones. If you don't know the tones, you're in trouble. You've got to do it. So the subsequent chapters introduce the learner to basic communicative themes and topics necessary in establishing a good rapport with the patient of Italian origin. Finally, the last 4 chapters are of the Italian language that can be used in practical situations dealing with health, medical and assurance languages. Now, I'm reading through my phone rather than because I want to show you where I am at. The author of this book is a qualified practitioner of the teaching of Italian at the tertiary level, and we would like to thank her for this specialised contribution to members of the healthcare community. The use of even the most basic Italiano with patients can only be a positive addition in their efforts to help those who are the beneficiaries of their assistance. So this is Paola Niscioli, and this book here was used by nurses, etc. So you can see that there is so much knowledge that can be used in a lot of in specific areas, and therefore learning Italian is an important part of that. Now, what else can I do here? Maybe I'll just do another one of my songs. That's it. I love this one here. This wasn't in this particular song. I didn't plan for this, but it's called Cantapiro. I love it, absolutely love it, because it's a beautiful story. And I hope that I'll refer to what I've done today in terms of grammar. And before I do this, I just got back to what we've done. No, I'll do that afterwards. After this song, I will recapitulate for the whole hour. Let's do Kantapiro, huh? I'll read it first. Dove te vai, Pierrot, pallido e mesto così, senza un sorriso is a smile, giocondo, sempre ramingo per il mondo. Che vuoi sperare dalla vita qua giù, quando v'è gente che non ama più? Prendi la fida chitarra, fida is an adjective, ritorna a cantar, non lacrimar. Canta Pierrot, la più stolta canzone del cuore, la canzone, see that's the word, canta perché se tu piangi si burlano di te, non sospirar nel ricordo del tempo che fu, devi nella vita recitare la farsa anche tu. Guarda oimè la gioventù come saltella oggidì, brama soltanto il piacere, l'attimo sol vuol godere. È su di un ritmo, notice that, fatal di jazz band, un ritmo fatal. Fatal in this case here is an adjective that comes after. It's not the right, but it goes well with the word, so they've used it. Ballando tango foxtrot se ne sta, credendo un ballo, a dance la vita, un ballo l'amor, notice l'apostrophe, amor, uccide il cor. And they used to drop some of the endings in past Italian, especially in singing. Canta Pierrot, la più stolta canzone del cuore, canta perché se tu piangi si burlano di te, non sospirar nel ricordo del tempo che fu, devi nella vita recitare la farsa, that's another word, la farsa anche tu. Ok, canta Pierrot. Dove te vai, Pierrot, pallido e mesto così, senza un sorriso giocondo, sempre ramingo per il mondo. Che vuoi sperare dalla vita qua giù, quando v'è gente che non ama più? Prendi la fida chitarra, ritorna a cantar, non lacrimar. Canta Pierrot, la più stolta canzone del cuore, canta perché se tu piangi si burlan di te. Non sospirar nel ricordo del tempo che fu, devi nella vita recitare la farsa anche tu. Guardo oimè la gioventù come saltello oggidì, brama soltanto il piacere, l'attimo sol vuol godere. E su di un ritmo fatal di jazz band, ballando tango o foxtrot se ne sta, credendo un ballo la vita, un ballo l'amor, uccide il cor. Canta Pierrot, la più stolta canzone del cuore, canta perché se tu piangi si burlan di te. Non sospirar nel ricordo del tempo che fu, devi nella vita recitare la farsa anche tu. Well, that was, I enjoyed that very much. We're getting to the end of it. So going back to the hour, don't forget. These are free online lessons every Tuesday. I will not repeat what I've done next Tuesday. We'll continue. But if you miss out, you can always go to my Facebook page, okay? There aren't many people, there are a few people watching, and thank you very much to all of you, because it helps me a lot, even if there are only a few people enjoying what I do. And I hope to meet you, now that the clubs will be open soon. And the other thing that I want you to do is TomPadulaGmail.com, but the other one is Insegna, here, Tom Padula, live on Facebook, online languages class, Italian and Loud, Insegna Booksellers, Insegna.com, Insegna Big Pond, TomPadulaTV. So you've seen these, you know. And don't forget, la pratica batte la grammatica. Even if you read a book, you know, the paper, if you buy the Globe or whatever, you know, whatever we have that interests you, as long as it's in Italian or in English, migliora la lingua. No? That's what you need. And the other thing too here is that don't forget, these are the ones that I want you to really concentrate on, 9 parts of speech. We're doing the noun and the article. Don't forget, if you've done grammar before, because you've been at school, you know about adjectives. Now, noun, article and adjectives, they come together, and I'll concentrate on these. There'll be more examples next week, more actual practice until you get used to it. But I will keep going, slowly but surely, and because it depends on what I want to do at the time, you know. This is like a textbook in the making sort of thing, but there are a lot of textbooks. I've got so many textbooks, you've got no idea. But at the end of the day, tutte le strade portano a Roma, e tutti I voli portano a Melbourne. There you are. Okay, well, this is a wonderful thing today that let's not forget too, that soon I will Christmas tree here, ready to go. So we'll have some Christmas fun as well. And this one here, see that? That was at the museum. They took that for me. And that's l'Italia. There you are. And I come. Do you know there are 20 regions of Italy? Do you know them all? Valle d'Aosta, Piemonte, they start from there. But I'm going to start differently this time. I'm going to start from Sardinia, see? Sardinia, Sicilia, Calabria, Puglia, Basilicata, that's where I come from, Campania, Molise, Abruzzi, Lazio, Marche, see, on the other side. What's Umbria is the one in the middle. Hasn't got any sea around it. Toscana, Emilia-Romagna, Veneto, Friuli, Venezia Giulia, Trentino Alto Adige, Lombardia, Liguria, Piemonte, Valle d'Aosta. There you are. And then the other little islands, they're not here. Isole Eolie would be there, and a few of the other islands, etc. And etc., etc. So l'Italia è bella, but it's a small little, you know, it's uno stivale. So there you are. It's been a wonderful thing that I thought of doing for this Italian lesson, and I'm really enjoying it, and I want to continue. If you think that I'm doing you know, it's okay, just look me up again on Facebook and come back to me each week. I don't mind. I don't mind. Yeah. Well, somebody said brings back memories of year 7. Of course. Thanks, Marisa. So Dominic, Bart, Marisa, not bad. It's I will thank you separately, but as I said, I will continue with this work, and I will go across languages as well. I'll do the French and the Spanish. I'll explain all that, so that when you do the songs for those languages, Stephen, you know, at least we'll get to learn. I'll get to learn a bit of Spanish too by doing it. So coming to the end of all this, adesso si deve andare a mangiare, no? Buon appetito. You know, after this Italian lesson, you could have a glass of vino, whatever. It's just been wonderful having you all there. And, well, by next week, I just want to remind you to come on to my world history lessons. They are, you know, I'm really looking forward to it, because history is taught in a nationalistic sense in all countries, and then it's not taught as a world history. So in other words, the real history of the world. So it's something that I'm going to discover as I go along. And also, Sundays, Dante Alighieri, it'll be Canto 8 on Sunday. Okay, ciao, arrivederci a tutti, grazie. We'll see you next week. Ciao.